1, blast off. Okay, Mr. Samuelis is not here today, so a student is taking over the notes, a Lockport student. Okay, I was just informed that I had my phone. I just ripped the tape. I could feel it. I just ripped the tape. Darn it. But I was informed I had my phone the wrong way if I'm watching TikTok. Is that right, kids? All right, out there? Okay, so here we go. All right. And then, yeah. So what's my name, though? My name is Too Important. I'm too important to have an ID on. It's always got to be hanging out of my pocket like that. I got to walk around because I'm right, Caesar. And then, hey, can you hold this for a second? How's my sign look? Let's see. And that's how many times I've been told to put my ID on all year long. And what does that equate to? We've had about 120 days of school so far. So that's about 10 times. Is that 10 or 20 times a day? I forgot the math. I can't do math. And sure enough, they still can't have their ID on. All right. And I want to just be one of those students. I just ripped the tape again. I could feel it. Anyway, let's do the math. All right. Here we go. Hey, by the way, cotangent 1 over 1 over 1 over. Anyone? 1. And then what is Actually, I already know the answer. Cotangent and tan, what kind of angle measure has 1 as a ratio? 3, 2, 1, go. 45. A little late on that there, my silly little friends. And therefore, that would be pi over 4 because we're in quadrant 1, right? So didn't we already do this, correct? Wrong. 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 Look at the directions. What does 0 to 2 pi encompass? How many quadrants, everybody? 4. So here's the difference now. Now I need to name all answers that are possible from quadrants. Oh, I just saw someone take a sip. I also forgot I'm a Lockport student, so I got my $8 Lockport latte. All right, there we go. There you go, right there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. What quadrants is cotangent positive? What's the other quadrant, everybody? 3. And what's the over 4 in quadrant 3? 5 pi over 4. Those that are severely behind and severely struggle, you put 4 pi over 4 here because that's equal to pi. And if you don't get that, I'm done helping you. I'm done. I recuse myself from educating you. If you don't know 4 pi over 4 equals 1 pi, I can do nothing more for you. Nothing. I'm done. Okay, so therefore 5 pi over 4 because we jump forward. These are the ones that, and I told you, if you are behind, then you real quick sketch this, not the whole unit circle for gosh sakes. And then you put 4 pi over 4, 3 pi over 3, and 6 pi over 6 where pi is. Where 2 pi is, you put 12 pi over 6, 6 pi over 3, and 8 pi over 4. And then jump backwards and get the quadrant 4 angles. So I do want to put this here. How would this be different from yesterday's question, which you just did a formative for? It would just say arctan of 1, and then that's when I have to do the restrictions. So I'm making a point of what the difference is between that question up there and this question with the specific directions. So those that didn't like the inverse stuff, good, you're done. All right, you get to now just work on this. All right, here we go. Gotta take a deep breath. Maybe a little sip from my latte. Add 1, divide by 2. Boy, I wish my teacher would have said this a million times. Sine of what angle measure equals a half? 30. So what's my 30s and where am I? Hey, another thing you should write is ASTC. Maybe, because now I got to name all angles and all quadrants that work for this answer. And what are they? They're the pi over what? 6. And what's the pi over 6 in quadrant 2? 6 pi over 6, jump backwards. Let's move on. I've already belabored the point. Add 2, which is 3, and then divide by 1. Let's get this over with. 1 over, 1 over, 1 over, 1 over, 1 over, 1 over. No one's answering. I'm waiting for someone to answer. 1. This one I do want to analyze for a little bit. And this is another discount double check. I don't know this ratio right off the bat. What I do know is secant is related to Kixer. Cosine, but it's flipped. What does y have to equal with the Pythagorean theorem thrown in here? What does y have to equal then? So we're getting no one answering, so that just tells me that we don't know. 1 squared plus what squared equals 1 squared? No, 1 squared plus 1 squared is 2. 0. And where do I have 1 comma 0? Where is that located at? Where's that located, 1 comma 0? Here. Is it also over here, yes or no? No. What is that number? -1. So this is the one time you only get one answer, and it is just 0 radians. All right? So here we go. You may like this better than the inverses and try to fight in your head. Which quadrant, what kind of angle, is it positive or negative? You know, silly rules, blah, blah, blah. The silly rules are gone. All right, now we're going to do two things. Actually, this should be first. List all 6 solutions. What does that mean? List 6. Got it. Okay, I see what they're doing here. All right, all right, here we go. So we're going to definitely subtract and then divide. Okay, first of all, where is sign negative? What quadrants? What quadrants? ASTC, which quadrants? 3 and 4. So that means I need 2 answers. This is not inverse stand-alone questions. Okay? So I'm belaboring that point over and over and over again. And then what kind of angle measure gets me? Okay, I'm at level 1. That's why it's over. That's R. I told you Y is always opposite the reference angle. Who was that? Another thing that you could write if you're severely and totally behind. Like I told you, though, you have to have something. You have to have something memorized in your head. So what is the reference angle, 30 or a 60? Which angle is opposite root 3, everyone? 60. So it's the 60s in quadrant 4 and 3. So this is for the strugglers, the ones that cannot memorize their unit circle and just get these answers quickly. There's an escape. Do something, not nothing. So that's why I know this is a root 3 and then opposite 60. So it's a 60 and 3 and 4. 6 pi over 6, add 1. 12 pi over 6, subtract 1. But I'm wrong. This says list all the solutions. It's over 3. Sorry. You're right. I'm right. It's over. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. It's over 3. Sorry, I was looking at TikTok. All right, 4 pi over 3. And I got distracted. And 5 pi over 3. So let's actually graph those. They kind of would look like that, right? So I have to make a point about something, and we've expressed answers similar to this when we were graphing. Like, where are all the asymptotes? What is the domain, which is the same thing. One is an equal and one is not equal to. My question is this distance the same as this distance? Just answer that, yes or no. I think it's an obvious no, right? So how do I name all the answers that land right here? I cannot connect these two, so all I have to do is take 4 pi over 3, and then the next one would be exactly 2 pi away to get to that same position on the unit circle. This is not rocket science. This is not a big deal. This should be an easy thing to understand. Wait till you get till tangent, and I'll make the point of why I did this with these distances here. So that means all answers for 5 pi over 3, every single one of them would be 2 pi away, and that's how you list all answers. Very similar to doing a domain or asymptote, where are they all located question when we're looking at a graph. Okay, then it says, I thought it said list all. Okay, well then list 6 solutions. So 4 pi over 3 would be a solution. Hey, what's 2 pi? 2 pi is what over 3? 6 pi, I hit something. Oh, I hit that, okay. And I didn't mean plus, I meant a comma. That's what I was searching for. I meant for a comma. So what's 6 pi over 3 plus 4 pi over 3? 10 pi over 3. And then what's 6 pi over 3 plus 10 pi over 3? 16 pi over 3. And then you know what? Let's go to 5 pi over 3 and get their little... I could subtract as well. I could go backwards and subtract 6 pi over 3. I have an infinite amount of ways I could do this. All they're trying to get you to do is exercise. What does it mean, that 2 pi n? And what it means is I could do this forever. I could do this forever and land in the same position. I could go backwards forever as well. There's actually an infinite amount of solutions that work for this beyond just 0 to 2 pi. And everyone should understand that because of the circular nature of a unit circle. Circular nature of a unit circle. That sounds redundant. Give the general formula for all solutions. That's just doing this. That's it. Now, what should I have put on at the end of this? N, E, Z. All that means is n is an element of integers. 0, 1, 2, -1, -2. I can plug in any number I want. Everyone doing okay? Hey, by the way, flip over your notes. Someone really liked that yesterday, but I don't know if there's enough room there. But at least you don't have to look at the internet. So if you want to do your homework on a separate sheet, go ahead. It's right there. Got it? This is illegal because I'm not supposed to print pages from the book. Illegal. Plus, you besmirch students. Oh, cancel Mr. Samuelis. Cancel culture. Hey, what kind of angle measure has 1 over root 2 as a ratio? 45. It should be instantaneous. What I used to do last year is x, r, 1 root 2. Y would have to be 1 as well. That's a 45-degree reference angle. And then where is cosine positive? What time is it up there? Huh? 32. It's like an eternity in here. We have so much time left. All right, that's what some students feel. Hey, what quadrants is cosine positive? 1, and everyone what? 4. So I think we could get this figured out as well. These don't have equal distances. You know how I do all solutions? Take one of them and add what n to it? What n? 2 what? 2, but you didn't do the pi. You also didn't pick up the sheets. Bamboozled. What? There's sheets over here? All right. I had him 2 years in a row. It still doesn't know sheets are over by the scanner. What's the other one? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, no one answered. Oh, should I go out in the hall and help some students with their IDs? I need someone to tape me doing that. I want that on where do you put your stuff? Chapsnap? Where do you put the things? He's shaking his head. All right. You know what? I'm gonna leave it. 2 over root 3. I'm gonna leave it. So add 2, divide by root 3. Because this is actually the good form for the strugglers. R, Y, it's over. What reference angle is opposite root 3 and Y dictates the reference angle? It's a 60. And what quadrants again? I'm going to do this for the strugglers. 1 and what? 1 and 2. Yet again, are those equidistant in answers? Yes or no? Wait till we get a tan. You'll see what I'm talking about and what you actually need to do. Ooh, or a cotan. Yay. Okay, so we know that's a 60, and it's a 60, and I'll put that up here. I refuse to not mention the degree measures. Refuse. Okay, but the 60 is an over 3. Let's make sure I don't get that wrong. And I think I've been putting x. Hopefully I have not. Theta, because that's what we're solving for, is the 60. Sorry, I was messing around in my head. And again, it's just tack on a 2 pi n. And then this one is strugglers, 3 pi over 3, jump backwards. 2 pi over 3 plus 2 pi n. And then just impress me, NEZ. I swear to dog, if you go to Google and I don't even know if you could Google that and put NEZ up there, but it just will say, that just means n is an element of integers. And then what other letter do we use besides n? What'll show up on the test maybe? K. I don't care. I've had n before in other books, k in other books. It's just a letter. It's a variable. What does the word variable mean? Constant or changing? Constant or changing? Changing. Change. You know where that comes from for you strugglers? What do I call you, the strugglers? If you can't recognize, one thing I could do is this. I would still have to do 1 over root 3, and then I could do the hand thing. I actually kind of like it. For tan, there's 30 degrees, and it's root 1 over root 3. Tan is this finger over this finger because that's 30 degrees. But this is cotan, so cotan is the reverse. So you know what I need? I need the 60. That's what I need. Because tan is root 3 over 1 of 60, so cotan is root 1 over root 3. Root 1 is 1. All right? Something! We got to do something. We either got to do the hand or we got to do the put everything down that will help me get these answers quick and then get them quick. All right? Something. But where's cotan negative? What quadrants? ASTC, which ones? Here we go. So you're going to get an angle measure. I'll reveal the answer in a minute. And then I'm going to get this angle measure. Are these angular distances the same? Yes or no? Yes. So watch what I can. How far away are they? What distance? Pi. So this is the time that I'm going to get. Oh, I could have done one more thing. Here's for you strugglers. But this is what I always did with my BABers. I always did this. I said cotan is related to ticks. So this is what I had them minimally right. But then cotan is x over y. And then I told them, hey, that's y. That's the reference angle. So what is the reference angle? A 30 or a 60? What's the reference angle? A 30 or a 60? Who's opposite root 3? 60. So it's a 60 in these quadrants, and that's an over 3, and the one in quadrant 2 is 2 pi over 3. But now this is why this is special. Oh, I gotta breathe. It's time for a latte. Pi n. Got it? Pi n. That gets me to the other one in quadrant 4. Then I can keep circling pi around and it keeps landing in those positions. Then I can list a bunch of them. I like that they do this stuff. We don't do this with the ABers. I should when we get to this. Yeah, it'll be a while before we get there. A little different. Function G. Okay, what is this? This is AP. Okay, so the function G is given as g of x. Let me read the question for you. Equals to arc cosine. What does that mean? Regular cosine or inverse? 3, 2, 1, go. Inverse. For g of x equals pi for values of x in the domain of G. In the domain of G. So when we have this symbol, this is when we go back to annoyingly restrictions. So g of x equals pi, and pi equals 2 arc cosine. Oh no! Oh no! I gotta plug in. Emergency. Man, I had this plugged in all morning long. I got a really bad battery, I guess, on this computer. Really bad. So I gotta sit here now. Okay, arc. Sorry, that was starting to. Whoa. Slow down there, Sparky. Arc cosine. Oh, I'm all discombobulated now. Of x. What do I have to do next? Everybody? What do I have to do next, everyone? Okay, no one said it. Did you say it? Okay. And then if this was inverse cosine, do you remember the Get Triggy with It video? Whatever I do to one side, say it. Do to the other. You know what we're going to do to both sides? We're going to cosine. So therefore, cosine of pi over 2 is all that I'm answering. And actually, this ends up being real nice. We're just going to get this answer. So there's no confusion about how many angles or whatever. What's the cosine of pi over 2? 0. So the answer is 0. And that's it. I don't have to worry about anything else. Okay, so now we get the whole idea. We get it. So it says f of x is 3 pi. That's there. And then this is 4. And you know what? Let's go ahead and divide by 4. We're in honors, right? In this honors, can't we do multiple steps without getting confused? And then what am I going to do to both sides? Tan. Come on. What's the tan of 3 pi over 4 then? What's the tan of 3 pi over 4? Oh, no. -1. Who said -2? Next to the guy that doesn't know still that there's sheets over here. G of x is negative pi over 15. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. And then how do you solve for that? How do you solve for that? What do I have to do first? Multiple. Caesar, you want to say it? Multiply, thank you. Caesar's getting a lot of mention today. Him and his brother. And then what are we going to do to both sides? How do I get rid of that inverse sign? Sine both sides. That's all they're asking. What's the sign of negative pi over 3? Root 3 over 2, is it positive or negative? Negative. Why? Because negative pi over 3 is in quadrant 4. And sine in quadrant 4 is negative. Everyone doing okay? Can't believe that. I swear to dog. I know I yell at people for not having their Chromebook charged. Yeah, it's a problem. Who's this? I'm in the middle of something. Yeah.
Elon said I had to see your outfit.
Gotcha. I also have a sign on my back. I've been told 1,234 times to put my ID on this year. Why? Because I'm too important. Sorry, have a good day. 0 over, 0 over, 0 over. Okay, I got it. But where's the inverse cosine 0 at? What position? Where's that located? 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2. Can I answer 3 pi over 2? No, what are the rules for a standalone inverse question? Can only answer from 0 to pi, right? So what's the answer? Someone already said it. It's pi over 2. Wow. You guys just took that formative, right? We were supposed to know that like right away. This is why I did 0 over 1, because x is 0 and r is 0. The only way that could happen is it actually does happen in 2 spots. So get ready for that when you're solving regular 0 to 2 pi questions. Y could be either positive or negative 1. But under the rules of inverse cosine, I can only answer 0 to pi. All right, that's the domain issues. Then whatever I do to one side, say it. What's the sign of pi over 2? What's the answer? 1. No one's answering. They're all on strike. They're mad about my outfit. What's the inverse sign of negative 1/2? First of all, what quadrant am I in? Only 4. And I must answer this as what kind of angle measure? Negative. And if you still don't know sine of a 30 is a half, there's something wrong. You make me cry. You make me sad. I want to puke. All right. And then what do I have to do to both sides? What do I have to do to both? This is interesting. This is interesting. Or not. I don't know. Depending on the person. What do I have to do to both sides? Tan. And what happens when I tan both sides? Well, I didn't free x totally. So what do I have to do at the end? What do I have to do to solve for x? Divide by pi. It ain't no thing. Chicken wing. You just do the math. All right, and then what's tan? Here's my hand again. What's tan of pi over 6? I have to know that that's a 30, and it's root 1 over root 3. This is for the strugglers. Okay, something! Do something! And it's negative because it's in quadrant 4, root 3 over 3. Or you can leave it as negative 1 over root 3, like I showed you on my hand. But then what do I have to do? I have to divide by pi or multiply by 1 over pi. That would be a lot smarter. So this weird answer, just by solving what they told me to do, would be this, and I'd be fine. So again, pi over 6 is negative. That's in quadrant 4. That's why tanning that would be negative. So just kind of showing again why that would be negative. Is that the last one? I hope so. Son of jeez, good Lord. Get your calculator out. Can someone get my mouse? I can't move. Can someone get my mouse? Gabby? No, Sochi? Look at you're all getting in the video. Gabby, you didn't get it. Sochi did. Sorry. Gabby, you're out. Sochi, you're in. Okay, let's get the calculator out. What time is it? 46? Oh, I think I'm getting a headache from all this thing in front of my face. I don't know how you guys do this. I don't know how you live your lives like this. What am I making sure of first, everybody? Look at the directions. What am I making sure of? Oh, God. There are students in here. What am I making sure of? I'm in radians. Why? It used to be before AP that we would toggle back and forth between radians and degrees. Hey, everyone in physics, isn't it always degrees? Right? So you have to, between those two classes, keep toggling. So you may be in degrees because you were in physics last. There you go. Subtract 2, divide by 7. This gets a little interesting, and it does say just from 0 to 2 pi. This is, I kind of covered this problem before, but not really. So you really need to focus on this. Really need to focus. So yes, whatever I do to one side, do to the other, you're going to inverse sine. If you don't know that at this point, again, you're severely and totally. Second quit, I'm in radians. Second sine, and it was what quadrant am I going to get an answer from? What quadrant? Where do you get inverse sine of negatives? What quadrant do you always get thrown into? 4. And you know what? This answer, what did it say? Did it say to go to 3 decimal places, like 2? Okay, that's better because it's negative 0.29. Here's the problem with this answer. It satisfies nothing of the directions. And I think you had a problem with this before very, very, very early when the answer said it has to be between these two and you gave an answer not in that interval. Remember? This is not in the interval from 0 to 2 pi. You know what this also is, though? It starts with an R. R-E. Not referee. That was the Super Bowl. Reference. So where else is sine negative before I continue? Because now we got to play this game. What other quadrant? Third. And guess what? This is 0.29 radians here as well. So what I need to do is answer this from standard position from the positive x-axis to this. So what's the yellow angle measure from 0 to 2 pi? What would I have to do mathematically? Pi plus 0.29, and then get that decimal and type it on your calculator. Problem with this one is, what would I have to do for this one? Watch my movement. Yoink, but then son of a, I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for that, computer. And then jump back. What is that math that I'd have to do? What was that math? What's that math? 2 pi, anyone? Minus the reference angle. It's simple movements. That gets me what the answer is between 0. And by the way, 0 to 2 pi is 6.28. This will be below 6. Why do I have an X there? Did I put an X there? Oh no, that's a that's a squiggly. I'm starting to go crazy. My dad's going crazy. Anyone know that song? Eminem? Anyway. Oh no. Only Zach from my 5th hour can type this on his calculator. Add 5, which is 9, divide by 2. By the way, you better watch yourself too. The range, situations for trig. Is this a valid fraction? And the answer is yes, because cosecant always has to be bigger than 1, right? If this was a sine question, go ahead. Inverse sine. Go ahead, inverse sine 9 halves. Go ahead. What do you get when you inverse sine 9 halves? What do you get? An error. Why? Because sine can't be bigger than 1. Sine's range is from 1 to negative 1, oscillating the graph. All right, so just some things to think about if you get like no answer here. But what do I have to do? I actually have to turn this into sine. What does that mean? I got to turn 9 halves into 2 ninths. Zach doesn't have to do this. He's got a special calculator. Okay, and then where's sine? And then it's the same math. Where is sine? I wish I could stand up there and type this. It's really hard with the mouse. Oh, I'm getting a headache. But I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to go out in the hallways and I'm going to high five all the cool students that don't wear their IDs every day and just hear it 1,000 times. Put your ID in. Put your ID in. Put your ID in. Put your ID. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to it. 0.22, right? And by the way, isn't that one of the answers? Because what quadrant is sign positive in? 1. That is the one. Put your ID in. Put your ID in. Put your ID in. Isn't that annoying? Yeah, it is. That's how annoying it is to tell the same people every single day. Put your ID in. 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 By the way, guys, what are the consequences for not having your ID on? Nothing. That's the problem. There's no consequences. I locked words. None. There's none. There's zero. Oh, that's why we're in the problems that we have. So the cool people. What was it? Negative 9/5. Second tan. I'm sorry. Was it negative 9/5? I have too many things floating around in my head. Okay, now what are the rules for inverse tan of negatives? A negative, because it's going to throw me in quadrant 4. So I got to do the same thing. Negative 1.06. I got to do the same thing I did on the first one. I got to know that negative 1.06 is here. So I got to know I have to name it this way, first of all. Then the other thing I have to know is tan is negative in quadrant 2. So this is 1.06. And then I have to do this math. By the way, I'm not typing it on that calculator. You do it yourself. One of the thetas is pi minus the, and don't be a robot. Why is it minus? You don't understand the basics. I had to do this and then jump backwards. So you asking me that question kind of drives me nuts. You're like half listening to the notes. And then this, go all the way around, but then jump back. All right. And that's why the other angle measure is a full 2 pi minus the reference angle. Those questions bother me because I think you're just note copying and not listening to all the components of why these are the answers that we have. This happens all the time. Not understanding that. Okay, anyway, you got your numbers. I don't know if it's nice enough on the side to do without putting it on a separate. You make your call. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed the